Transformation in any sector is usually a result of rapid and widespread adoption. Such adoption happens when the value proposition is right. So how does one ensure the value proposition is right? Deep consumer insights, technology evolution, and business model innovation are the key enablers. From edible oil to bottled water, we have seen markets in India getting transformed in a short span of 15 years. Edible oil moved from 2% to 80% packaged in terms of market share. Bottled water rose from non-existence to 3,400 plus brands. Today, India is the 10th largest packaged water market in the world. With a best-in-class methodology for business model innovation, we at Cachet Innovation set out to help a client transform the landscape of the Indian dairy sector. First, some context. India is the largest producer of milk in the world, followed by the US and China. Of the 153 billion litres produced in India in 2016, the organized trade accounts for around 41 billion litres. Half of this is liquid milk, 99% of which is sold in plastic pouches. The widespread use of plastic pouch and the large dairy plant model followed have many implications. These plants procure over 500,000 litres a day. Milk production in India is highly fragmented, which means the procurement footprint can go as far as 200-kilometer radius around the plant. This translates into multiple middlemen and a considerable amount of time for collection and transportation. Thus, the inbound milk is of relatively poor quality since it deteriorates in the absence of chilling and safe handling. Once packaged and processed, this milk in plastic pouches needs to be maintained below 4 degrees centigrade. However, in the current scenario, the cold chain is either absent or non-functional due to unreliable power supply. So the product further deteriorates before it reaches the consumer. The whole business involves a race against the clock from the farm to the plant. These limitations have led to uneven penetration of packaged milk in most parts of India. Hence, the unorganized dairy sector is still a sizable 39 billion litres. One of the leading players in the dairy space saw this as an opportunity for growth, but their attempts yielded minimal results, since they relied on traditional market research to study the landscape and identify growth opportunities. Traditional approaches often tend to reaffirm the status quo and are unsuitable for application with disruptive growth opportunities. Cachet evaluated this landscape using the jobs-based approach for market discovery, trying to identify the factors that led to non-consumption. The objective was to create a business model-driven approach to growth. We started out by taking a detailed look at the unorganized and undocumented dairy sector. With a focus on UP, Bihar, and MP, the three major states consuming unpackaged milk, we went deep into villages and milk markets spread across the cities and towns. To map out the landscape, the key stakeholders, and their important, unsatisfied, and widely occurring jobs, we conducted over 250 interviews, field visits, and ethnographies. The landscape is complex, and the flow of milk is dynamic, subject to major changes depending on season and demand-supply factors. The central city limits have both retail and bulk consumers. It also has milk mandis and a few tabelas. The expanded city limits have secondary mandis and bulk or retail consumers. The peripheral areas have small accumulators, the middlemen who bring milk to the city. The rural areas have the majority of farms and individual farmers, and most milk production happens here. They have the small and large accumulators and entities like dairy plants. Small accumulators collect milk from the farmers and pass it on to either the large accumulators or dairy outlets or retail consumers. They also bring milk to a milk mandi or sell directly to bulk customers. Large accumulators collect milk from the small operators and take it to dairy or milk powder plants. Each of these players operates differently depending upon the time of the year and the supply-demand equation. Next, we applied our jobs approach to uncover several unmet needs and key facets of the loose milk value chain. Based on our findings, we helped our client create a new concept. This involved three main pillars: a focus on maintaining the fresh milk taste in a packaged product with global quality and safety standards, an integrated processing and packaging unit located near dairy farms in order to lock in product quality while reducing travel time from the source, ambient packaging to enable distribution over a wide footprint without the need of a cold chain. However, there were three main questions that remained unanswered: whether the product would gain acceptance, what would it take to set up and run this operation, how could we scale this concept. To test this concept, we set up a dairy venture in Varanasi, one of the largest cities in UP. We established a plant to test the technology, the concept, and the supply chain. Today, this plant is capable of producing up to 20,000 liters of milk a day. We used the three main principles behind the concept to set up the facility and conducted validations at every step to create a brand of milk called Malaika. Our positive experience so far makes us believe this approach could transform the dairy sector in India. We could have many low-cost, lower-capacity plants procuring much higher quality milk over a localized footprint. This would enable superior processing, leading to a better nutrition and taste profile. The use of ambient packaging would eliminate dependence on a cold chain and would enable safety, quality, and distribution over long distances. Eventually, the landscape could have many plants that produce between 10 to 20,000 liters per day. This new paradigm would result in multiple benefits across the dairy landscape: higher incomes for dairy farmers, generation of gainful employment for many, superior quality milk with better nutritional value for consumers, greatly reduced adulteration and health risks, and finally, superior health and well-being for dairy animals. Skillful use of business model innovation and technology simplification in the dairy sector can lead to the dawn of a new era in the Indian milk landscape. Cachet Innovation has the capabilities to generate such transformation in many such sectors. Expertise in disruptive innovation, capabilities beyond those of a traditional consulting firm, and deep experience in the complex Indian market give Cachet the ability to drive growth through innovation.